Want to make your day more productive? I've got a quick list for you. A quick list of 7 things that a guy by the name of Josh Spector put in a Medium article that I read with gleeful abandon because of number 2. And I'm going to share all 7 of them with you and why number 2 was so exciting for me up next in this episode of the VOHeroes podcast. The article is simply titled, How to Simplify Your Day. And I have it up on the screen here. I want to go through it with you. I want to start with number 2 of the 7 ways to simplify your day that Josh Spector shares with you because it shares something in common with the system that I use to stay as organized as I possibly can, and that's the Ivy Lee method. If you haven't heard about the Ivy Lee method, just go up to the search bar and search for Ivy Lee here on VOHeroes.com, and I've got all kinds of stuff about it. I share with my pros every month in our Pro Connect live session how to take Ivy Lee and the method that he created for Standard Oil back in the late 1800s and use it to simplify your day. And number 2 that he says in his list of 7 is choose 3 things that matter most and get them done. If you do that, you will have what he calls an incredibly productive day. That's kind of interesting that in our world, 3 things that we get done make for an incredibly productive day. But that is so important and so awesome that he recognized that. I don't even know if he knows what the Ivy Lee method is, but he did share that as number 2. Number 1 is segment your day. So before you start work, your top 3 things that you're going to do, remember, based on number 2, your meal times, your exercise times, whatever those things are, segment them and give your day some structure. Again, number 2 is choose 3 things that matter most. The quote that he has here is, it's not the number of things that you accomplish that matters, it's the importance of them. We often tend to think that quantity is more important. I got 20 things done today. Well, how about 3 things that are really important, right? Number 3 is to not multitask. And I know that as I speak to millennials and as I speak to Gen Zers and even members of my own age group, there's this badge of honor of doing multitasking work. And I can only tell you that it took a long time for me to get it through my thick skull that, yeah, I could do more than one thing at a time, but I really can't do more than one thing at a time because it's physically impossible. You have to put your attention to one thing at a time. Even though you may have a number of things going on, you really need to do one thing at a time. It really will help. Make that first thing that you do, this is number 4, make that first thing that you do an early win. Right? Something that makes you feel good about getting something accomplished first, early in the day. Like, oh, I got that finished. I can do anything. This is awesome. Number 5, limit the access that people have to you. This doesn't mean be unavailable. I mean, we as performers have to be available for casting, for our representation, for our team, for our peers, for ourselves, for our family, our friends. But limit that access to a reasonable degree so that you can concentrate on what you're doing. Too many people are like looking at email, looking at email, looking at email, looking at the phone, looking at the phone, looking at texts. Limit the distractions and the access that people have to you. Create a boundary. Number 5 is create a boundary between work and non-work. I love napping. And when I go and nap, my phone gets shut off. My work ends for that moment. And it's not just napping. It's, do you need to do work while you're eating? Maybe sometimes because you're pressed against a deadline and you want to grab something real quick. But try your best to create a boundary between work and not work because it highlights the importance and meaning of both work and recreation of yourself when you're not working. And then finally, he says, do one thing you love every day. I've been doing one or more things that I love every day for a long time, and I can tell you that number 7 is awesome. I'm going to give you a link to this email, or in this podcast episode in the show notes. I'm going to give you a link to this article on Medium so you can read it for yourself. It's not a long read. It's probably I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. Worth looking at. And if these things make sense to you, I'd love to know if any of these things are like, yep, I do that, or wait, what are you talking about? Tell me more about this. If you want to know more about any of these things, I'd love to do that. If this episode really resonates with you, hit the like button as hard as you want. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell to be notified when we have a new episode available of the VOHeroes podcast. If you want to engage in the commentary, do so at VOHeroes.com, because that's where it's lovely and calm and respectful. We'd love to have you there. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching and for listening, and I will see you in the next episode of the VOHeroes podcast.